Okay, so this is phenomenal teaching. It's regarding the verse Eliyahu Anavi and how this is linked to this concept Yodate Yotzari Yodate, the unity between Yishmael, Yosef, and Yehuda, as evidenced by this three-letter name of God that's derived from Exodus 14, verses 19 to 21. Okay, let's go and have a look at this. So we covered this in a lesson, not last lesson, the lesson before. And a brilliant teaching in there, really, for this time. You know, it's all about the birth pangs that we're experiencing now before the coming together of Israel and Islam. Okay, really brilliant lesson. So let's have a look at some of this gematria, because it is phenomenal stuff. It blows my mind, and I'm sitting looking at this gematria all day, every day. Okay, so hopefully I'll have brought myself on board now. So we've got this verse from Malachi which says, Lo, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. Okay, so let's go and have a look at some gematria, because it really is phenomenal stuff. So this is some basic gematria taken from that. Lo, I send you Eliyah, I do believe, Eliyah Hanavi, rather than Eliyahu. Talked about that in last lesson. Lo, I will send you Eliyahu the prophet, Eliyah the prophet, Malachi 3:23, as we've already said. These are some phenomenal gematria, however. Some that's come up recently. It is, however, the exact regular gematria of this name, of unity. So we know that Elijah is coming for this unity. Yodate, Yotzari, Yodate, Yod, Yehuda, Yosef, Yishmael. I knew my Creator, I knew. So this is the unity that Eliyahu is coming to proclaim. Right. I had a little inspiration this morning, because I've been debating this issue quite a lot on Facebook. One of the debates was that the word Oirev is raven. We're wanting the holy bird, the holy dove of peace. Talked about this in last lesson. Very important teaching. But at the moment we've got the raven. We've got the body of Moshe in Erev Rav exile. Erev Rav exile. So this is the Moshe covered in black, covered in the thick outer husk, the clipper. We've got Moshiach Ben Yosef, the right wing of the holy dove, covered in the black of the Edomite clipper, and Yishmael, the Moshiach Ben Dawid as revealed through Islam, covered in the black of the Yishmaelite clipper. Okay, we need to divest of these filthy garments. We need to divest of the evil outer husks to reveal that holy dove within. The raven fed Elijah. The ravens fed Elijah. The letters of Erev, Oirev, raven, are exactly the same letters as Arab. Okay, the vase is a base. So Arab is Arav. Ayin, Rev, Resh, Vav. The exactly same letters for raven. Ayin, Resh, Vav. Okay, it can be spelt that way. Exactly the same letters for Hebrew, or Ever, that come from the other side of the river. The root of the name Hebrew is Ever. Ayin, Vev, Vav, Resh. Exactly the same letters. We need the Hebraic mindsets to free us, and they're all Hebrew. We're talking about Hebrews here. Yishmael was a Hebrew. Came from Abraham, who was the first Hebrew. We're in Shlach Lecha. This is the first introduction to Abraham, the first Hebrew in this week's Torah portion. So Yishmael came from Abraham. He was a Hebrew. Asaph came from Yitzchak. He was a Hebrew. We've got to divest of these outer garments and reveal the Hebraic mindset that has been exiled, the Hebrew that is exiled into this Edomite foreskin. Okay, so we've got to divest to reveal the holy dove. The raven, however, fed Eliyahu. This is symbolic. This is symbolic. We've got to take the concealment, be fed off the concealment, and transform that into a revelation of the holy dove. Okay, we've got to divest, we've got to take the concealment and transform it into revelation. Eliyahu Anavi, is the one that is able to accomplish this, to reveal the truth, or Yosef Chai. What's hiding underneath that facade? Yosef. The truth regarding Yosef, the truth regarding the whole concept of Moshiach, which is a whole bird, the body of the bird Moshe, as within Judaism, the left wing Moshiach Ben Yosef as within Christianity, which is really basically Manasseh, the son of Yosef that's Manasseh, and the right wing of the bird Moshiach Ben David as hidden in hidden in Islam. It tells us exactly where it's hidden. It tells us in the Psalm, long have I dwelt with those. It's in Psalm 120. Just let me read it. It's wonderful. It's here. Look, long has my soul dwelt with those who hate peace. I am peace, but when I speak, they are for war. Where does it say? It says, "Woe unto me for my drawn out sojourn." This is where he's telling you he is. I dwelt with those who inhabit the tents of Kedar. This is the Ishmaelite tribe that Muhammad came from, the Mahmed came from. Okay, so there is definitely connection to that. Muslims speak about it. Okay, so we've got a direct connection with this 3-letter word, this 3-letter name of Yod-Heh-Waw, this 3-letter name of God derived from the whole verses of the Exodus, that the sages say is an acronym of Yodate, Yotzari, Yodate. I knew my creator, I knew. And we can see that is exactly the same gematria as Eliyahu and Avi. Okay, it's all connected. It's all connected. It's incredible. It's also connected to this. But Rebecca loved Yaakov, right? Yitzchak loved Esav. That's what it starts off the verse. Yitzchak loved Esav, but Rebecca loved Yaakov. So really, I did a lesson recently about, it's called Yitzchak Loves Esav. Okay, revealing the Yechida, because Yitzchak was the Yechida of Abraham. Moshiach Ben Yosef is the Yechida of the name of Yod-Heh-Waw. He represents the tip of the Yod, the holy Yechida, the aspect of Adam that never fell, that was still perfect, and that came down into this exile with us in order to gather in the lost of the house of Yosef. But the only way that could be revealed, this light, had to come into this world, which is a world where light and dark is in balance, because we ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, so everything is in absolute balance. For every light, there's got to be its equal opposite darkness at this time, until we've corrected ourselves, until we're attached to the tree of life. We get back to the tree of life. So if that light comes into our reality, the equal darkness has got to come in. What was the equal darkness? Esav. It wasn't just Esav though. It was the foreskin of Esav covering Yesod up, Yosef. It was also Satan. We had to have the full power of Satan come into this world when we had the full power of the Yechida come in. So Yitzchak loves Esav for a reason. Because it's only when we are wrestling with the forces of all those satanic powers that light comes to its full strength. It's like Joseph in Egypt. Only when he's in the court of Pharaoh, the top magicians in the world, is the strength of Joseph fully revealed. Likewise, Moshiach Ben Yosef, only in this incrustation, this demonic incrustation of Edomite exile, the foreskin of Esav, can the full power of Moshiach Ben Yosef, the holy Yechida, the perfect aspect of Adam that didn't fall, come into its own. That's when it comes into its own. That's when battling through these forces of Satan, of evil, of Esav, battling against the outer darkness to subdue it, to reveal that hidden light. That's when the name of Yod-Heh-Waw, that light represents the name of Yod-Heh-Waw, the absolutely all-merciful level of the name of Yod-Heh-Waw is revealed in the book of Micah. That's when it comes into its own. Okay, when it's got the power to subdue all those forces. Okay, but like I say, free choice has got to be maintained. That light cannot come in without an equal opposite darkness, and that is why Satan was unleashed to the power that it has been unleashed throughout this Edomite exile. And it's wreaked havoc, but it has not overwhelmed the good that's been done. Okay, that's an outer facade, hiding the fact that through the Yechidah, Yotewa has been gathering the lost of the house of Yosef, the lost of the house of Yosef that are within Edomite European or Edomite European colonized countries through Christianity. Islam came from, for the lost house of Yosef, that is in Arab lands or Arab colonized lands, like all north of Africa and things like that, the Arab Peninsula, and throughout all the world now, throughout all the world. The influence has spread throughout all the world, just as Christianity spread throughout all the world. This is a good thing. Either gathering the lost of the house of Israel until that time where we can all unite, and Israel and the nations are all united, all humanity is rectified. Got to start to see the good, bread from heaven. We didn't want to be given this revelation to us handed on a plate. We didn't just want to receive the bread from heaven. The bread from heaven is the Holy Yechidah. It's the perfect aspect of Adam's soul. It's the perfect aspect of our own soul. It's basically equivalent to angels and things like that. It's a bread from heaven. We didn't want it just given it to us on a plate. We didn't just want to go outside our tent and gather it in. They didn't like it given to them that way. They was given an opportunity to work and earn this bread from heaven. This is what the 2,000 years of Edomite exile, it's toil to fight against the demonic forces of Satan. We didn't want the bread from heaven just handed to us on a plate. We wanted to earn the bread. We wanted to toil the bread. We wanted to bring forth bread from the earth. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody wants it handed to them on a plate unless you're lazy. When you are children of God, you want to reveal that within your own life. And how do we reveal that? When we toil to reveal this bread. When through the experience that we have battled in this Edomite exile, all of us together, to reveal the secret inner meanings of the Torah, to reveal the holy light of the Yechidah, to reveal well, it's literally the secret inner meaning of the Torah. We've been like the saying, man is a tree of the field. Okay, which field? The field of Esav. We have learnt Torah through toiling with all the forces of Satan, like Yaakov wrestling with the angel of Satan through the night until the dawn breaks. And then that whole experience is what blesses him ultimately. It's just the same principle. We just don't want something for nothing. We want to feel we've earned whatever we get from God. We as his children want to feel that we've earned it. We haven't just got it given free because we're his children. We have worked in his household. We have imitated his name. We have established his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. We have worked for this. We have brought forth bread from the earth. Okay, so this is, Yeshua represents the bread from heaven. Okay, so when we was cut off completely, and we had no hope of toiling ourselves, then we simply had to receive by a gracious gift the revelation of the bread from heaven. But over time we mature, and over time we want to do some work ourselves. And over time we want to bring forth the bread from the earth, and this is desirable to our Father in heaven. This is what he wants for us anyway. This is what he planned for us, to send us into the land of Israel. Now, however, we found ourselves toiling for the bread in the field of Esav, but still we bring forth the bread from the earth. You know, we are not toiling in this exile for nothing. It's for a really great, wonderful good that we have earned our right to be bestowed with that revelation of oneness. All of humanity has worked hard to reveal this oneness. Okay, so there's a connection to that. Nativot, some of those paths have been very individual. Nativot is our own individual path. What have we done in our life to bring forth that bread from the earth? To toil against Satan in our own individual lives. What paths have we trod? There's what's called haderech, like Yeshua says, I am the way, the truth, and life. So there's some broad ways, okay, or there's some ways that are just set. This is the way. Okay, so within Christianity at this time, the main way is Catholicism. That is it's all dictated by Rome. This is what it is to be a Christian. They dictate it. It's haderech. It's been hijacked by the evil outer husk of Rome. You've got the same within Judaism. This is what it is to be a Jew, and it's the rabbinate. They're basically Erev rabbis that dictate what it is, who is a Jew, and what it is to be Jew. So just the same as Rome. Okay, and it also within Islam, you've got this path that is dictated to by only one stream of Islam that really comes from the Abbasid. You've got breakaways, just like you've got within Christianity, Protestant and Catholic, but essentially it's Rome. It's essentially run by Rome. And so too within Islam, you've got breakaway sects, and there's different sects within Judaism, but ultimately it's just one big path. It's the Shulchan Aruch, or Shulchan Aruch. Okay, it's a set way. A main path. Haderech is main path. Nativot, our own individual paths. How we have walked. You know, sometimes we have to walk our own path up that mountain to get to the top. And this is connected to, because we have to toil for our own bread. Nobody's going to make bread for us. We have got our own lives to sort out in our own individual ways. And we find a way. We find a path through our lives based on, you know, what we're connected to. So there's a connection to this. These paths are important. They're not the main paths, but they are individual paths. They're the ways God has led us individually, so that we know we've contributed something. Some of our uniqueness is expressed through our own individual paths. And this is what the Yechidah is. The Yechidah is what unites us all, but it also is what unites us all in our uniqueness. We are unique, all of us. And sometimes it's very difficult to bear somebody else's uniqueness, because it's confrontational when it comes to, well, it's not quite my uniqueness. This is where a lot of the controversy comes between different people. Well, you're not doing it like I'm doing it. It brings a lot of controversy, it brings a lot of separation. It's very difficult to allow everybody to be completely and totally unique. Moshiach Ben Yosef is the only power that enables that to be so. Do you know why? Because by the time we get to the top of the mountain, it don't matter how we got there. It really doesn't matter. What matters is we all got there. We all got there. We can all love one another, because we're all aware that there's only Yod Heh Wawi and nothing else beside him. And instead of criticising how somebody else got up the mountain, we can celebrate it. Because we started at the bottom of the mountain. I don't know whether you're aware of this, but when the Torah was given, there was actually under the mountain, Tachat. There was under the mountain. Somehow we've got to go from the bottom to the top, from slavery to freedom. Because we were still, intimidating into accepting the Torah. By the time we've got to the top, by the time we get face-to-face with Yod Heh Wawi, in a face-to-face relationship with Yod Heh Wawi, instead of intimidated, trembling under the mountain, by the time we get to the top of the mountain on whatever path we got there, it's only cause for joy. These paths are very precious to our Father. Some of us will get there on the main path, and a lot of us will get there on the Nativot. And they're all very precious. They're all unique. Our unique paths are precious. And they bring unity eventually, because it's on those that we get right to the top. And then this is quite incredible, isn't it? Yeshu filled to the second filling is exactly the same as Lo, I will send you Eliah the prophet. What's unique about this filling out is that the nun is missing. The vav is missing from the nun. The nun is supposed to have a vav. Okay, it's supposed to have a vav, and a vav represents life. I think it's in Psalm 25 where there's a letter nun and a vav missing. The vav is supposed to represent life. It looks like Yosef is dead. You know, his brothers have lied about him. It looks like he's dead. Eliah has a missing letter vav here. It's Eliah, not Eliyahu. Okay, and yet they are equal, look. 184. Even the fact that the truth has been hidden, that then requires us to toil through these 6,000 years, that are the 6 days, that are the vav. Even though it takes a lot of toil in order for all humanity to be rectified, even this experience is part of the revelation. The toiling for that truth to reveal the bread from earth is part of the experience. It's exactly the same regular, exactly the same ordinal, which is 2 times 110. 110 is the ordinal of Yeshua HaMashiach. 110 is the years that Joshua lived, and 110 is the years that Yosef was alive. So 2 times all of those. There's a connection even there. This is phenomenal as well. Wait till we get to that. So we've got Sodom. Where is King David found? According to the Zohar, when the question is asked, when there's in Psalms, I found my servant David, the Zohar asks where, and it gives the answer Sodom, because ultimately they came through the daughters of Lot, which is again in this week's parasha, introduction of Lot. Lot went with Abraham, spark of Moshiach. So we've got the square regular, which is 4 times 1,304, all connected to this. It's highly messianic. And then you've got this phenomenal concept. Where do we get this from? Just wait a minute. Okay, just had to think a minute here. So here, Yodati, Yotsari, Yodati. This 188 is Yaakov rectified. Normally, Yaakov, the regular of Yaakov, comes to, here look, 10, 70, which is a 80. Kof is 100, 180, and then Bet is 2, so 182. But when you've got the additional the additional Vav, that is 5 times in Tanakh. Yaakov is written with additional Vav that comes from Eliyahu. 5 times Eliyahu has got a missing Vav like what we see here. The Vav represents the 6 days, the 6 working days where we've got to toil to bring forth that bread from the earth, to bring forth the rectification, so that we've earned the rest that is coming. So where did I go with that? What did I want to say? So the 188, yeah. So 188 is Yaakov with the additional Vav. 182 plus 6 is 188. So this is directly a revelation to Yaakov, fully rectified, including the truth. Od Yosef Chai. Yosef is still alive. This is what brings him to full rectification. The square ordinal Mispar Gadol of Metatron is 1,492. Metatron is the 7th day. There's 2 ways of spelling Metatron, with 6 letters or with 7 letters. Okay, the 6 letters according to Arizal are the 6 supernal days, i.e. the 6,000 days. This is really the whole system of reward and punishment, or the whole system of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So Metatron split in 2, we'll come across it in a minute. On the one hand is Michael, the advocate. On the other hand is Samael, Satan. So you do good, you'll get reward. You do bad, you'll get punished. And this is the reward and punishment, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, this is the 6 days of hard work. Metatron is Metatron spelt with 7 letters, so we can assume that that is the Shabbat, the Shabbat. Okay. The Moshiach represents the tree of life. Metatron, and Leviathan represent the system that operates the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's the revolving sword. It's, and sometimes it's confusing. Why? Because sometimes you can do good and get punished, and sometimes you can do bad and get rewarded. This is why it's so confusing, the world in which we live. You end up thinking, well, what have I done wrong? When you get punished and you've no understanding why. This is why we need to attach to the tree of life, because once you've reached that consciousness, messianic consciousness, you've not got that revolving sword confusing you anymore. You've got through it. Okay, you've got to humble yourself. Moshe was humble. This is, we need the tree of life. We need to be humble to get beyond that revolving sword mentality. Got to let go of ourselves. It's very humbling, because we want to be associated with things. We want to have identities. We want to feed our egos. Got to let go. Got to let go of ourselves and attach to Yod-Heh Waw-Heh. And this is the tree of life. It's not always easy. We've got a big battle on. This comes up again. However, in Arabic, Metatron is also 324, exactly the same as here. This is Arabic gematria. This same phenomena of good and bad, the world of reward and punishment, the tree of life is beyond that. It's no longer the if I do this and if I don't do this, and it's just attachment to the source of life. And in his presence, you'll simply learn to imitate him. Face to face, you will know God, and that being in a face-to-face contact, the light of that experience transforms your entire reality. You're not pestered by the same imaginations of insecurity. You're simply content in his presence, the presence of his name, face to face. You're infused by that light. You've nowhere else to go. You know how beloved you are in his presence. This is even spoken of in Islam. There are Muslims that attained this face to face with God and spoke about it. I've read about it. This is what we want to attain, and in the meantime, there's a force that's stopping us, because we've got to humble ourselves. There's a force that's stopping us that is guarding the way to the tree of life, and all humanity at some point has got to overcome that force that is stopping us from entering in to the tree of life reality. We will all get there. And he said, oh Lord God, how will I know that I will inherit? So this really was a little bit of lacking of faith of Abraham. But the regular nod will come to 1304. Bearing in mind, Abraham contained within him Esau and Ishmael and all the tribes of Israel. He was the first Ivri Hebrew. And he will, all the Abrahamic faiths will be united. Okay? They will be united. So how do I know that I will inherit? Well, it's connected to this, isn't it? All this. I knew my Creator. I knew. We are going through a period of rectifying our faith, so we have perfect faith in the name of Yod-Heh Waw-Heh. Okay? Then this is, but Noah found favour in the eyes of the Lord. When Noah motza chen be'einei Adonai. And Noah and chen are the exact same letters rearranged. Noah chen. This has got, if we take the regular and the Mispar Gadol regular, add them together, they come to 1492. Which is exactly the same as this. I knew my Creator, I knew. Okay, this is very significant. This is extremely significant. I think that number comes up as well at some point, not 100% sure. 331 is Ephraim. So this is pointing also to Islam, because Islam are Ephraim. They are the younger son, the older serves the younger. Christianity is represented by Yosef's son Manasseh, came first. Ephraim is Islam. Okay, so that's very much connected to here. Moshiach Ben Ephraim. Okay, there's Moshiach Ben Manasseh, Moshiach Ben Ephraim. These are two concepts known within Judaism. There is a distinction between them. You don't hear a lot about Moshiach Ben Ephraim, by the way. It probably comes under Moshiach Ben Yosef, the suffering servant, more. But there is a concept of Moshiach Ben Ephraim comes up much more. And he will bring unity. So anyway, that's connected up to there. Probably have to have another look at that, what I've just said. Because it's in this book, The Secrets of Redemption by Ramchal. Is a lot in there for now. Okay, so what else have we got? This is where it gets fascinating. This is where there's a big concept coming up now that I want to teach on. This whole concept of Shanatayim Yomim. The 2 full years that Yosef was in the pit. He was in the pit because he uttered 2 words. Remember me to Pharaoh and take me out. Those 2 words cost him 2 extra years in prison. And then Pharaoh, after 2 full years, at the end of 2 full years, he was dreaming. This is all messianic. I've gone through it so many times I can't go through it there. But that 2 full years is related to these 2,000 years that Moshiach Ben Yosef is suffering, in order that we all rectify our faith in Yod Heh and cling to that tree of life rather than this tree of knowledge consciousness. This tree of knowledge consciousness is going to come up, by the way. Okay, because Yod Heh changes not, is always good. Yet most of our experience of God is punishing me, or God is being really kind because I've done this. And God is changing all the time depending on our behaviour. God doesn't change depending on man's behaviour. That's tree of knowledge consciousness that would tell you that God is changing. I do good, God is good. I do bad, God is bad and far away. I do good, God comes near. I do bad, God goes further away. God fills the whole world. But we're not conscious of it. We're conscious of this fact we've sinned, so we hide ourselves. We start to get frightened of God. This is tree of knowledge consciousness. Is because our consciousness has not been elevated back up to the level of Moshiach, which is what we ultimately need to. We need to raise it up so we're attached to the name of Yod Heh, we're nothing else beside him, because he doesn't change and he's always good, and our sin doesn't cause him to change. They could, if they had have received the Yechidah, they could eat from that tree of knowledge of good and evil, and there would have been no negative consequences. Without the Yechidah, you can't eat from that tree. We need the holy Yechidah that I've talked about. Because then you can, even if you were to do something wrong, you're so attached to the tree of life. You've got your holy Yechidah, you're so attached to the name of Yod Heh Wawe, you know they don't just be revealed within the letter of the Torah, the do's and don'ts, but above the letter of the Torah, the all-merciful levels. Unite those 2 revelations together. You have got, where can you go? Where can you go from that name? Even if you do wrong, you absolutely know that his name covers that sin. The whole concept of Moshiach Ben Yosef is to teach us that. So if you're attached to that level of soul, the revelation of his name at that level, you can eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Even if you do wrong, you are not going to separate yourself from his name, because his name is greater than the sin and he changes not. You are attached to a non-changing reality. That don't mean to say you go around sinning. It just means to say that it's insignificant compared to the reality of his name. It's insignificant, and you know, because you've experienced it, no matter what you do, he changes not, and his will is going to get done anyway. And you see, even this error that you've made, you know it's going to just be turned round into a revelation of his name. That don't give you license to continue to sin, but what I'm saying is that what is your sin in his presence? Nothing. we are lowly. We can't. You've got to sometimes judge yourself with the power of his name. When you do something wrong, you've got to take a step back and use his name to assess that situation, rather than try and peep through the name, through the lattice, or peeping through the cracks of your own exile into your own sinful body. You've got to just take a step back from that and say, okay, so why did this happen then? Well, because we're human and we're stuck in a Edomite exile. The evil is so powerful that, it takes a long time for our body to learn and conform to the name of Yotewauhe. It's been like programmed with a virus. You've got to deprogram your entire body, because your entire body is filled full of imagination. It'll trick you in an instant. It only needs to see one image. Next minute you're like a donkey bucking around a field. We are but you've got to use his name to judge that situation, so that situation doesn't become a prison for you that's going to keep you disconnected from his name. You've got to just use the power of his name to nullify that sin. He's kind, he's forgiving. He put us in this for only good, to reveal his name. How are we going to reveal his name? You take the sin and you do something that is a part of his name to cleanse you from it, to inspire you, to get you back on track, not to cause you to hide, to cause you to draw near. We've got to do this now. We've got to start to see there's only Yotewauhe and nothing else. We cannot be enslaved by our own lower nature. We've got to allow our soul to dominate over that reality with the truth of his name that's revealed. And it's been revealed throughout this last 2,000 years. So these numbers, I hope you're with me with that, because it's so easy to want to run away from the tree of life when you become conscious of your own sin. But you've got to fight to just be conscious of his name, that he's unchanging. He doesn't change. He's always good, he's always kind, he's always merciful, he's always gracious, he's always truthful. He forgives sins, he forgives transgressions. He's long-suffering until we fully repent, until our body can be free from the slavery of exile. So even our body can serve Yotewauhe. Right? This takes time to be fully rectified. It don't happen overnight. You've got to be patient and long-suffering yourself, with yourself. So 2 full years is doubly connected, isn't it? It's connected up to here. But Noah found favour in the eyes of the Lord. Every person in humanity traces themselves back to Noah, because other than Noah and his 3 children and wives, they was all killed. Hamas will not make it through. I'm telling you now, Hamas will not make it through. The flood came to get rid of the world full of Hamas. The dimensions of the ark are related to that whole concept of Hamas. I can't do it in this teaching, but it's very fascinating. So the Mispah Gadol is 2020. So we can see these 2 full years related up to Noah. There's prophecy about, as in the days of Noah. Okay, so there's a connection. These 2 full years are so that all humanity gets rectified. They've been spread out over 2,000 years, so we've all got a chance to be rectified. Okay, the Mispah Gadol 2020 is 10 times Yehuda. That number comes up again, but here we've got this fascinating number that links us back to Yeshua filled defective, the missing nun, the missing truth, because his name has been erased, the truth has been erased about him. It's connected to Eliyahu. Eliyahu is the one that can rectify this problem. And the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the regular and ordinal, also come to, this is the Mispah Gadol by the looks of it, also come to 1084. So again, we've got that tree of knowledge of good and evil consciousness. We've got to break free from that. How? Well, there's 2 years of suffering of Yosef in prison, the 2,000 years of Edomite exile, Messianic era, a rectification for that. And even Yeshu, even the light of the Yechida, being disgraced to the degree that he has been done by his own brothers, sold to Rome, is all part of it. It all had to happen because it was in the Torah. It happened to Yosef. It would have to happen to Moshiach Ben Yosef. That is Yod-Heh-Wawi fulfilling his Torah according to fulfilling his Torah. Then this is where it gets special. This is the Mispah Gedolah of Moshiach Ben Dawid. So all this is for the final revelation, isn't it? Moshiach Ben Dawid, when Dawid is spelt with additional Yod, that's the wisdom that we get, that Yod-Heh-Waw hid in darkness, the darkness of this exile. We've got to find that wisdom by wrestling all the forces of evil, like what we have done for 2,000 years, wrestling all the forces of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's been tough, toiling to get back to that tree of life. This is the whole... This is the force, if you like, that governs the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It tells you this in Zohar. Metatron is all about the tree. It's from the tree of the good of knowledge of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The slave who rules instead of the king. We should have Moshiach. We've got Metatron instead. This whole concept, Metatron, Metatron, Leviathan. This is what conceals Moshe, the aspect of Moshiach. This is the dark side of the raven. Well, it's the revolving sword, isn't it? It's all these different aspects that conceal the tree of life. The revolving sword of good and evil conceals the tree of life that changes not. The name of Yod-Heh-Waw that changes not. And this makes us perceive God a certain way, because we can't get past the revolving sword, because sometimes some things go good and sometimes they go bad, and we're caught up in that whole consciousness. This is governed by these forces. Metatron, Metatron, Leviathan. You want shut to this and attached to the tree of life? You've got to overcome this. You've got to overcome this mentality, this exiled consciousness. This is our consciousness exiled. It represents this. Let's have a look where we get this. So if you take Leviathan, we take all these three. We take the ordinals and the square ordinals, add them all up together, they come to 4 times 184, 4 times Moshiach Ben Dawid. We got to use Moshiach Ben Dawid to overcome this. Got to use messianic consciousness that we get from Eliyahu Hanavi. We get through this unity. Okay, we get through understanding the lies regarding Yeshua and reveal the truth instead. Od Yosef Chai. We find Moshiach Ben Dawid in Sodom. He's never where you expect him to be. Okay, so it's all connected. It's all absolutely glorious. This is the unholy serpent in a way, isn't it? Or this is the 6 days of creation, the 7th day of creation, the 8th day of creation. This is Malkuth. It's exactly the same as Malkuth. It's also exactly the same as ruddy with beautiful eyes. 496, that comes to as well. That's describing King David. So this is what conceals Moshe, the 6 working days of creation. That's why in the Torah of Moshe we're told what work to do. Metatron is the 7 days because it's got 7 letters. It's connected to the 7 supernal days, but it isn't them themselves. That's what Arizal said. So Arizal just talked about Metatron, but Metatron we can presume is the 7th day. This is why it's spelt the same in Arabic as it is 6 days, because really Yeshua, Moshe's upper soul was the 6 supernal days. Yeshua's upper soul was the 7 supernal days. That's why he says, I am Lord of the Shabbat. His upper soul was the Holy Shabbat. King David, that upper soul comes down, incarnates, and his upper soul is the 8th day, Holam Haba. So this is it's all big mysteries. So this is really like the unholy serpent Moshiach is the holy serpent. This is the head, the body, and the tail. This is Tifereth, Yesod, and Malkuth. Okay, we've got to transform that into a revelation of the name of Yotewawhe. In heaven, Tifereth as it is on earth, Malkuth, through King David. You know, the heavenly bread that gets transformed into bread from the earth. It's all wonderful stuff. It's all hard work. This is how hard work it is. And you've got to understand, we sin so much. We've become so conscious of our sin and the consequences of that because we haven't been able to break out of the influence of Metatron, Metatron, and Leviathan. We're still trapped in Tree of Knowledge consciousness. So we're not able to access the Tree of Life. That's why Moshe couldn't come into the Promised Land, because there was no Tree of Life there. Okay, it's that's what the Zohar says. It's got to be the Tree of Life. Got to access the Tree of Life. Without the Tree of Life, there's no revelation of Moshiach. Okay, Moshiach is even exiled from the Holy Land. So we got this verse taken from Deuteronomy. We'll see how it all links up. It's phenomenal. It says, I call as witness against you this very day the heaven and the earth, that you will be speedily and utterly perish from the land to which you crossed the Jordan. So Moshe is telling them this before they've even gone in to possess. You will not prolong your days upon it, but will be utterly destroyed. So this was what Moshe said before they went in, when he knew that he wasn't going in with them. And yet God made a provision to try and prevent this to be utterly destroyed. This is the 2,000 years that we have to suffer. The 2 years we're going to see in a minute how it's all related. There's this incredible phenomenon, but will be utterly destroyed. Ki hi shamed ti shamedun. Okay, so filled out. Look at that 496. We've just gone through that number. That's Leviathan. That's the kingdom. That's the aspect of the tail of the serpent. It's got to be transformed into the holy serpent, Moshiach Ben David. Okay, he is the one that prevents this utter destruction, because he brings the unity between Yehuda, Yosef, and Yishmael. There are three aspects of the soul: Yechida, Neshama, Moshe. Yechida, Yosef, Neshama, Moshe. Chaya, Moshiach Ben David. You've got to have the unity of all those three levels of soul. So filled, this is in filled at Asiyah, Yetzirah, Beriah, and Atziluth come to 9,666, which is 3 times 322. 3 times 3,222, 9 times 1,074. We're going to go through both these. Are phenomenal. It's all about truth. It's all about truth. Let's go and have a look. Look at this though. We've just been looking. This is how it's connected. Lo, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. So that's from Malachi, what we've just read. Look at this, however. The Mispah Gadol, regular and ordinal. What is 441? That's Emeth, truth. Aleph Mem Tav, 441. 400 the Tav, 40 the Mem, 1 the Aleph, 440. It's all about truth. Truth shall set you free. The truth is Od Yosef Chai. It needs to be given over to Yaakov. When we can fully comprehend this, not just like in a small way. It's not magic. It's knowing. It's the knowledge that we have when we're saying it. The knowledge to know that that is a revelation of the name of Yotewaweh above the letter of the Torah. It is still alive. The Holy Yechida, though it descended into Edomite exile, is still alive. Why? Because we bear witness to it. How do you bear witness to it? Because we got attached to the tree of life. This is the truth. So, 3,222. But we'll be utterly destroyed. No, we won't. No, we won't. We did not get utterly destroyed because we went through a process of rectification that was meted out over 2,000 years. And I'm going to show you that when I go to Rashi. I'm going to show you the numbers and this mysterious 2 years. We've already seen that the gematria is connected to those 2 years. The 1084, that is Moshiach Ben Yosef. That is connected up to the whole concept of Eliyahu, the coming of Eliyahu. We've just gone through that. Now let's have a look at some more significant numbers. Zipporah, square ordinal, 1074. What is 447? That's We'emeth. We'emeth is one of the 13 attributes of mercy that reveal the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. Adonai, Adonai, and then it goes El Rachum Wechanun, Chesed We'emeth, kindness and truth. Okay, so Zipporah is the one that performed the circumcision of Moshiach, Moshe. Of Moshe's sons, Mashiach's sons, Moshe's sons. Okay, 1074 is 3 times 358, 3 times Moshiach. This is all about Moshiach. 9 times, that would be 27 times Moshiach. Zok times Moshiach. Zok means pure, as in pure olive oil. Okay, so she performed the circumcision. I did a whole load of teaching on that. It's very important, all about Zipporah. Also, it means bird. What are we wanting to reveal? We want to reveal the Holy Shekinah, which is likened to a holy dove. A bird of redemption. Only will come via the truth. Let's go and see why is that so. Okay, so first of all, we've got hola, illness. If we take the square regular and the or and the regular, the square regular and the regular, add them together, 1074. What is this? He bore our illnesses for us. This is the suffering of Moshiach Ben Yosef. We think we've had illnesses, okay? He bore them for us. That means whatever we've suffered, he's taken on himself a lot more. We have been spared so much through his own suffering, the suffering of the Holy Yechidah with us in this exile. He bore our sicknesses. Okay, we've a lot to be thankful for. 1074. We've a lot to be thankful for. Devar Emeth, word of truth. Devar Emeth. Yeshua had to go and be concealed so that the word of truth would come. It's the comforter. It's connected to the whole concept of the spirit of truth, the word of truth. It's all about so truth could be revealed. Okay, it's the ultimate truth. What truth? Well, really, it's Od Yosef Chai, but that is the code message for the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh at the level of Keter. That's the real truth. Okay, like I say, it's not easy to reveal this because it brings out the individuality in all of us, the uniqueness in all of us, and the truth regarding that uniqueness, that, you know, the paths that we create all the way to the top. We always want everybody else to be wrong and us to be right. There's a lot more truth in this world than we can imagine. Why do we know? Because there's a lot of evil covering it all up. Right, so let's just get to this. So this is the Metatron, Leviathan, the revolving sword. It's like the staff of Moshe that turned. Metatron's likened to the rod of Elohim. It's in one way it's the staff, in another way it turns into a serpent. Which one is it? Both. You know, this force, Metatron, can be both. There is a truth regarding the whole concept of the system of reward and punishment that's called Metatron, but there's a whole load of stuff that's attached to that that's garbage. There's concepts of it that are false. Okay, and in a lot of ways this concept of Metatron has replaced the true secret inner meaning of the Torah, which is the revelation of Moshiach Ben Yosef, or in other words Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh fulfilling his Torah for the last 2,000 years in Edomite exile to bring back the lost of the house of Yosef. This Nobody's speaking about this in the secret teachings of Torah. What they're speaking about is Metatronic, and Ein Sof. They're speaking about themselves. You know, they're not speaking about the real glory of God that's revealed in the truth that we are witnessing. They turned their back on that and staring at these false doctrines instead. That are basically and essentially Greek philosophy that's infiltrated. I spoke about that as well. Spoke about that in the Gog and Magog teaching that I did for Sukkoth, and I spoke about it also in the teaching that I did on some of the recent teachings that I've done about Islam and Israel uniting. Okay, so let's go back to this rod of Halloween before I jumble myself up completely. It's got Samael, which is evil. I'll just quickly tell you how it's related to the dimensions of Noah. I learnt this from Rabbi Bretwitz, so I'm just trying to pass this on. There's two forces of evil, isn't there? There's Samael, there's also Nachash, snake, serpent. Okay, there's an equivalence. So you've got these letters here. Samech Mem is usually called the Samech Mem. And then you've got El. This L limits, because it's one of the names of God, it actually limits, and it means kindness, limits the severity of this evil force. Samech Mem. Then the word Nachash, it's got within it the Shin Nun, which is Shen, teeth. Just like the teeth limit the tongue from speaking absolute evil. So there's some missing letters then, isn't there, from these two aspects of evil. There's the holy bit that prevents it from being fully unleashed. But then that L, that is like God. And then there's the Shin Nun of Nachash. So you've got a Chet missing. You've got a Chet that's still evil. And then you've got the Samech Mem of this, that is also evil. Add them together, what do they spell? Hamas. This is evil unleashed. This is complete evil unleashed. And this is why Noah had to have the ark. Why is that those two names related to the ark? Because you've got the Shin, it was 300 cubits wide. The Nun, it was 50 cubits high. It was 30 cubits wide. Okay, and the roof was slanted to 1 cubit. So that's the Aleph Lamed of Samael, and then the Shin Nun of the Nachash. They are the dimensions of the ark. The bit that is able to withstand the full force of evil. What's left? Hamas. That's going. Because Noah came, the flood came to rid the world from Hamas, violence. That's the word used. The world was full of Hamas. The floods were sent to get rid of Hamas. This is how we know that you see this Hamas that's risen up in the Holy Land of Israel. It's going to be gone of. It's had its day. Our Father in Heaven's tolerated it. But you see, just as this is evil totally unleashed, wait till we see what God has got to unleash. There won't be no mercy shown for Hamas. You see, if you're divided in any way whatsoever or feel sympathetic towards this because they're parading little babies about, okay, God will take care of the innocent 100%. Hamas will need to be taken out. That's the end of it. Because as in the days of Noah, we got that coming. And you can even see that from the word Samael and Nachash. You cannot have evil that is totally unleashed. Do you see, when you got evil totally unleashed, you're going to get God totally unleashed. Okay, so these only in the world to see the power of his name, his authority and his sovereignty, that's going to get unleashed. You know, there's no way they have chose. There's no way God can tolerate that level of unleashed evil. Humanity can't. Nobody can. Just let God deal with it. let God deal with it in the way that he knows how. The Jews will be extremely merciful. They're not targeting innocent children. They're not targeting hospitals. They're giving people warnings to get out. Hundreds of thousands have already fled. They've given them the opportunity. We haven't had the full display of power yet, but it will come, because this can't be tolerated in this earth. We tolerate it now, we're going to all pay the price. God didn't tolerate it, why should we? We've got to be a part of the remedy. We've got to be in the Ark of Noah at this time, because the flood is coming. Okay. It can come in a good way. It can come via revelation. That can be the flood. The Vilna Gaon taught us this: the flood that can, the gates of the flood that can open can be the truth of the true inner secret teachings of the Torah. This is why I'm putting these teachings out. It can come in a good way. Okay, the flood really should be a flood of knowledge. The final flood should be a flood of knowledge. What knowledge? The actual knowledge of the truth. Instead, we're getting flooded with lies, propaganda, and this is what people are flooded with. They don't know right from wrong. The Kabbalistic teachings was what should have flooded the earth, but you see, contained within the Kabbalistic teachings within Judaism are lies. Greek philosophy is not going to sort this problem out. The truth is what will sort this problem out. Need to be a flood of truth to sort this out. And it will be coupled with scientific truth. We've been told lies about that too. The floodwaters below are the scientific knowledge to help humanity to unite. That should be all the good communication systems that we've developed. All this teaching, it should all be used for good. What has happened? Evil has hijacked all these things, and now it's filling the world full of bad scientific knowledge and bad holy knowledge from above. Lies! Scientific lies! Holy lies, dressed up as holiness when it's lies. It's just Greek philosophy. It's not Torah. It's not the truth. Don't bring unity, it just creates more division. I am confident that in these teachings, these are the truth. I am confident. I'm not a perfect person. I'm just human like everybody else. But I'm confident in these teachings that I am putting out. I am confident these represent the truth. This is the true knowledge that we need now. Okay? I study science. I'm currently studying science. I know the value of proper scientific knowledge. We need it in order to live properly healthy lives, in order to do what it is that we need to do in this world for good for all humanity, to subdue this earth in a good way scientifically. We've got different types of work to do, holy work and secular work. Both should be done in truth. True science and true holy knowledge, true Torah. Okay, so I've missed a bit, haven't I? On earth as it is in heaven. This is unity also between Esav and Yaakov. Samael is the guardian angel of Esav. Michael is the guardian angel of Yaakov. Samael is the accuser. It's all right pointing fingers at everybody else is evil. We need to start to advocate now. We need to start to advocate for the Christians. We need to start to advocate for the Jews. We start to advocate for Islam. Okay, the good that they have done, it don't belong in the realm of evil. It belongs in the realm of holy and good. These are the bones of Yosef we need to bring out of Egypt. Exile. The goodness, the essence of Yosef got to bring out. May Hashem, God of your fathers, add to you. And the next word is 1,000-fold. But this, the regular order will come to 1,074, which is the same as all that. Deuteronomy 1:11. The next word is 1,000-fold. This is a blessing associated with Moshiach Ben Yosef, according to Vilna Gaon. Why? Because he is associated with 999 footsteps from below. We do all this hard work, 999 footsteps from below. The 1,000 comes from above by an act of sheer grace. Why grace? Because that's a revelation of the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. You see, we can toil a lot down below to bring forth bread from the earth. But that bread from the earth don't get transformed to bread to the heaven without it reaching up, and Yod He Wow He, through grace, completing that transformation. That 1000th step is Moshiach Ben Yosef, Moshiach Ben Dawid. That's why Moshiach Ben Yosef 566 plus Moshiach Ben Dawid 434 added together come to 1000. That's why Moshe's called the little Aleph humbled, but it will eventually become the Aleph Gadol, the big Aleph, which is worth 1000. Aleph is worth 1 or 1000. And here we go, look, Moshiach Ben Dawid again. So we had the 1084, now we've got it 1074. 1084 is the Mispah Gadol when David has the additional Yud. 1074 is when it hasn't got the additional Yud. Okay, so it's if we add 424 as well and 174, which is the Mispah Gadol, that's the regular, then the Mispah Gadol, it comes to 1498, which is 2 times 749, 2 times Yeshua Mashiach. They're all connected. Okay. And then we've got this, I think I've already done it. Alright, just to point out the fact that if you take the regular and the ordinal, 506, the Mispah Gadol regular and ordinal, and add them all up together. Oh no, sorry, what have I got? Which one have I got now? Because I've got two different numbers there for the same adding up, haven't I? Alright, yeah, sorry. If you take them, the regular, the ordinal, and the Mispah Gadol and add them together, they come to 1580, which is 5 times 366. 5 times Yeshu. Even contained within Moshiach Ben Dawid is the revelation of Yeshu, because it was all necessary to disguise Yosef. Okay, to disguise Yosef, his name had to be erased. Just as Yosef was given a different name, Zafnath Paneach, Yeshua was given a different name, Jesus. It's all connected and all glorious. And then this is connected to the problem with Noah, psychedelic. He got so many, I did a whole teaching on this, the whole history of psychedelic drug use within the faiths in order to get elevated spiritual levels. There's a massive history of drug use. This can be linked to Noah. Noah took the vine and he drank the wine in his tent. This is all symbolic, according to the sages, of him doing some kind of mysterious thing where he was trying to find out what the sin of Adam was so he could correct it in kind of like a drunken or psychedelic mind transforming way, so he could sort of like alter his mind in order to try and rectify the problem of Adam. Adam's problems cannot be rectified with drugs. We're in a time frame. It's a matter of time that is going to rectify the problems. We're going through a healing process. Okay, it will all be done in a very natural and holistic way, not through psychedelic drug use. I've pointed this out. We do need to use the plants to heal us, because this Edomite exile has taken a traumatic toll on all of us. There's nobody that's escaped trauma. And sometimes these magic mushrooms and stuff in very small doses can help a lot to bring your wave brains and all your traumatic connections, that are just to calm that down a little bit. But the problem with Noah is he used that to try and sort the problems out with Adam, and he went down into layers of reality, subconscious layers of reality, to try and figure it out. And he ended up in trouble. Look what happened to Noah. Aaron's sons were the same. This strange fire. It's symbolic. That's why they're told straight away, there's the commandment, you're not allowed to drink and go in, to the holy places. It's all associated with the same thing. There's somehow the use of substances to bring about a spiritually altered state in order to perform some kind of rectification. It's total fallacy. However, like I say, in the light is some truth. So maybe when we get to the end, we will need this. There's this whole idea of microdosing with the magic mushrooms and stuff like that. This psilocybin and stuff like that is proven to be extremely beneficial for like reprogramming our bodies from exile. We've got to look to the plants. We've got to look to nature in some way to help humanity to recover from the horrific trauma, the program of we can take a person out of Egypt, but taking Egypt out of a person is a much more problematic thing. It can't be done in a quick fix. There's no quick fixes for it. Healing takes time. The connection with this, when I did the series on Noah and the psychedelic, it's the whole story of Moshiach Ben Yosef in the gates of Rome. This is where Moshiach is in the gates of Rome, unwinding his bandages one by one, just in case he's called. What does that tell us? You can't take all your bandages off in one go. You can't heal yourself in just one go. You just do it one bandage at a time. You know, whenever way you deal with one thing at a time, it takes a lot longer, but you're going to be more successful. Change should be slow but permanent. No quick fixes. There's no quick fixes. There's no going on these like tropical, I can't remember, DMT, isn't it, that they take this ayahuasca, whatever it's called, and they're having these massive psychedelic experiences and they think that they've solved all life's problems. It's not going to happen like that. Noah tells us that. The sons of Aaron tell us that when they go into the holy place and they've been having this foreign fire, and you can't do it that way. It's not the truth. So this is something we've got to avoid. Noah teaches us to avoid it. Aaron's sons who died, Ithamar and Eleazar, no, they were the ones that lived, weren't they? Nadav and Avihu, they died and they needed to be dragged out. Noah was shamed by what happened when he tried it this way. But you know what we are now? We're right at the end. We're right at the end where the little grain of truth that they left us, maybe there is some way that we can use these magic mushrooms and stuff like that and other psychedelics in small doses for good. It's looking like that could be an actual benefit, as long as we're doing it for the right reasons. We're not going to accomplish the full rectification of man in any way other than for all of us to go through this healing process of 6,000 years. That's what our Father is destined for us. We're very near the end, you know, so things can be speeded up now. It's the truth, really, isn't it? The truth is what heals us. The truth of the power of his name heals us. We've got to help our bodies a little bit, because our bodies have taken the brunt of this exile. They're traumatised. They need to be calmed down. They need shalom. We need to be healed of this trauma. The truth heals us a lot. Sometimes we need a little bit of help on top of that. You know, we need plant medicine. You know, in small doses, not to whack us out completely. I'm not into that at all. I believe in small doses of the right medicine can help. But ultimately, what is it? It's the spirit of truth, isn't it, that's related up to here, but will be utterly destroyed. I'm going to go through what Rashi said about this because it's utterly unbelievable. So they've got the spirit of the truth, which is connected to, but will be utterly destroyed. No, we won't, because the spirit of truth is going to help us out. So square ordinal 1179, exactly the triangular number of up here. But this comes to 3 times 393. What is 393? 393 is Shiloh. This Shiloh is 345, exactly the same as Moshe. Ordinal of 48, which is exactly the same ordinal as Yosef. And it's also 2 times Dawid, when Dawid has got the extra yod. 24 and 24 is 48. So it's the unity of all three. Comes to 393. Okay. I think it comes to the initial letters of the Erev Rav, the unholy serpent too. So you've got, it comes to that. I can remember now. This is going back a long while, but it comes to Shiloh, but it also comes to the 5 forces of Erev Rav, because if you take the initial letters of the Erev Rav, you've got Nephilim, Gibborim, Anakim, Amalekim, and Rephaim. And those add up to 393. Let me just check that. Yes, they do. So the Nephilim, it goes in order, isn't it? Nephilim, Gibborim, Anakim. So 50, 3 and 70. Rephaim, 200. And Amalekim, 70. Comes to 393. They're the 5 unholy aspects of the serpent. I'll come and show you how this is connected to the 5 aspects of the holy serpent, or the Moshiach, in other words. If we take 1179, I think that is the regular, it comes to 1839, which is 3 times 613, 3 times the number of commandments, spirit of truth, ruach ha'emeth. And also we'emeth and truth. We've already come across this here, haven't we? We'emeth. So if you take the square ordinal and the ordinal, 732, plus the regular, exactly the same as Zipporah, comes to 1179. It's all about truth. Truth is what prevents us from being utterly destroyed. The truth, the heavenly truth and the earthly truth, the holy secret teachings and the truthful scientific teachings that bring humanity to a place of comfort. Roads and technology and medical advancements and all the good science. But unfortunately it's in the hands of the Erev Rav, which are the 5 aspects of the Erev Rav I've just talked about: the Nephilim, the Gibborim, the Anakim, the Rephaim and the Amalekim. This is the evil. We need the spirit of truth to overcome that evil. We need only the truth. Ruach ha'emeth, we'emeth. It's all here. It's all about truth. There's also the word of truth, isn't there? Word of truth, davar emeth. Emeth, 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 emeth. This is what we need. We've got lies. We need to take those lies and transform them into truth. And even here, like I've said, 441 is emeth. It's all about the truth. Then look at this. This is utterly wonderful, isn't it? So we've got that about Elijah, and then this. Then he said to me, Son of man, can these bones come alive? And I answered, Oh Lord God, oh, you alone know. So we've got the regular and the ordinal. The regular is 9 times 307, which is Rivka. Comes to 3,222. So directly related to this, but will be utterly destroyed. We're going to find out now if we was utterly destroyed or not. Okay, we're going to have a look at some Rashi teaching. We won't be utterly destroyed because this 2,000 years have prevented us utter destruction. Who are the bones that live? Ephraim. Will Ephraim live? Yes, they will. Or the lost house of Yosef. Yes, they will come alive. Okay. Only you know. Right, so this is fascinating now. We've got this. I'm going to bring this up as well. I'll just, maybe not that yet. So we've got this verse from Ezekiel 22:4. It says, By the blood that you have shed, you have become laden with guilt, and by your idols that you have made, you have become defiled, and you have made your days draw near, and you have come up to your years. Therefore have I made an object of shame to the nations, a subject of gossip to the lands. Therefore I have made you, Ezekiel 22:4. Rashi says, up to your years. The decree of Deuteronomy 4:25, and you will have grown old with its numerical value, which Moses said. So we go back to Deuteronomy 4:22. This one here is what we've just been looking at, 26. They're utterly destroyed. I couldn't show you this until I'd shown you the rest because it was related to Elijah. Now we're going to tie this into major concepts. We've already seen the 2 years that came up, hadn't we? So when you beget children, children's children, you will be long established in the land, and you become corrupt and make a graven image, the likeness of anything, and do evil in the eyes of the Lord your God to provoke him to anger. And then it says here, you will be long established. Hebrew, were nushantem. He hinted to them that they would be exiled from it at the end of 852 years. The gematria numerical value of the word here look, and you will be long established, where noshantem. But he exiled them earlier, at the end of 850 years, 2 years earlier. He did this 2 years earlier than the numerical value of Wenashantem, in order that the prophecy about them should not be fulfilled, that you shall utterly perish, as what you will find in Deuteronomy 4:26, but will be utterly destroyed. And that is what we've just been doing the whole analysis based on, because it's linked to Elijah coming, it's linked to all that we've just seen. Phenomenal, isn't it? So he did it 2 years earlier, so that this utter destruction wouldn't come about, because we've all sinned to the point where we deserved utter destruction, in order that the prophecy about them should not be fulfilled, that you should utterly perish. This is the meaning of what is said, and the Lord hastened with the evil and brought it upon us, for the Lord our God is charitable, tzaddik. He was charitable with us, for he hastened to bring it, the exile, 2 years before its time. So this is also spoken about in Sanhedrin 38a and Gittin 88a. So we have been stopped by these 2 years. So where did the 2 years go? The 2 years became 2,000 years. It's like Vilna Gaon said. He said, there's prophecy that Moshiach Ben Yosef will die. It will be utterly destroyed. But no, because he took them 2 years, that was Yosef, and he made them into 2,000 years. He broke the punishment down into smaller portions that could be meted out of 2,000 years. This is why Yosef lives. Okay? And Vilna Gaon makes this analogy. It's like the king who decreed that he had to throw a huge rock at his son. But then he changed his mind, but he couldn't withdraw the decree. So he had the rock broken up into lots of smaller rocks, and he threw each one at the son, knowing that each one wouldn't kill him, cause him suffering and pain, and it would take a lot longer. But you see, in the end he would live. And this is why the Vilna Gaon said Moshiach Ben Yosef will live, because the punishment has been meted out on for such a long time. We have suffered, all of us, so much in Edomite exile. This punishment has been upon ourselves as well. We have suffered. Israel has suffered. Israel has suffered. Israel is a suffering servant. Yeshua is a suffering servant, but also Israel. We have suffered in this exile. We have suffered because we've been exiled from the name of Yod-Heh-Wawi. We've been suffering the revolving sword of Metatron, Leviathan, thinking that's God because we're so exiled from the tree of life. We don't know even any better. Totally confounded by this reality. Why has this happened to me? This is suffering. Things like faced with the Holocaust, there's no answer to it. It's utterly confounding. You utterly feel separated from God. And many things beside the suffering of children and things like that, the sickness, coronavirus. This was horrific for all humanity. But we have survived. Man has survived. We have survived. And that's what's important. We should have been utterly destroyed for the level of sin that we've committed, for the idolatry that we've committed. But we even though the suffering has been nearly unbearable, look at what's just happened in Israel. This is unbearable to think that Jews on Simchat Torah, this could have even happened. This level of Hamas, unleashed evil. There's no restraint in this evil. Set that upon the Jewish people. This is unbearable. Even this went on at Bataclan, the theatre in France and things. I think it's called Bataclan Theatre. It's unbelievable. The evil that has been unleashed on humanity. However, we've survived, and we will survive, because God's plan is to cause us to survive. And this 2,000 years of suffering is a remedy to ensure that we do not get utterly destroyed. And you know, there's a lot of people waiting for that utter destruction. They're just waiting on the sidelines with the popcorn out, waiting for it all to happen. Like with what happened in Israel. Well, just get the popcorn out. Oh, it's all happening now. They think that they're going to be okay. Okay? We'll see who's going to be okay in the end. Because we have taken a punishment We have taken suffering. We have suffered in this exile, but we won't be utterly destroyed. God is going to be faithful to us. And that's the truth. And that is the truth that is going to be revealed. And we are less than 7 years off before the end of those 2 full years. Yeshua died in AD 30. This is according to the best astronomical calculations, given what we know from the Gospels and other evidence, like written in Chinese annals about this holy man that had come for the sake of man's sins, forgive man's sins. This was written in AD 31. By the time it got to China, there's been some delay, so we know he must have died in AD 30, because AD 30 and AD 33 are the only options available at an astronomical level, and Sir Isaac Newton worked these out. So we've got to say, well, if he was written about in the annals in China in AD 31, it must have been AD 30, and AD 30 is what Newton himself favoured, but he was forced to accept AD 33 because it fitted better with the Anno Domini calculations of him being 33 when he died. Things like that. He was pressured into accepting AD 33. If he was AD 30 and he's going to be in exactly 2,000 years, that takes us to 2030. So we are on our way. That's Pesach that he went into exile. It will be Pesach that he returns, because it will be exile. It says, to the day. That's what's written in the Torah regarding the 2 years that Yosef was in prison. 2 full years. The sages say to the absolute day. So if we go by that, to the absolute day, on Pesach, or the 14th of Nisan, it will be to that day. He will return. Okay, we're very close, because the end, it can all be hastened. We can start to see this hastened. We don't know what's to come. Okay, but we only know that if we have the truth now, it's going to help us a lot to ensure that we are not utterly destroyed. We don't want to be utterly destroyed. We want to hang on till the very end. That revelation of the Moshiach will come completely in those 2 years, at the end of 2 years. So by 2030, he will have come. And these are just the birth pangs of the Mashiach. This is the real darkness before the dawn. It says it's darkest before the dawn. We about to see dawn. You know, in Judaism, the darkness becomes before the day, and this is exactly the truth. The darkness comes. You get night, then you get the morning. There was evening, and then there was morning. So we get the darkness of this exile. We're going to see the day dawn as well, and it's very soon. Okay. So just a couple of things that this is connected to. It says the end is wedged in the beginning. So we know from this here, and we know from this, and you will be long established. It comes to 852. That's the 852 with the 2 missing years. There was exiled after 850 years. That was a Babylonian exile, I do believe. However, if we take the 852 and the Mispah Gadol, it comes to 2,264. 4 times 566, which is Moshiach Ben Yosef. Okay. So we know that he is going to prevent, he is something to do with this. He's Moshiach Ben Yosef. He's something to prevent, this is something to do with that extra 2 years. 948, which is this number, and 1,519 added together, 2,467. You see, the end is wedged in the beginning. This is the end. We get to the end of those 2 years that we'd got now. That's the end. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay. We need to reveal the truth. In this, there should be 6 alephs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the 6. That's the Vav. The 6 working days of creation, where man has got to perfect himself. Okay? It's all connected. That's the Vav, that's the truth. That's the Vav of Eliyahu, the 6,000 days which bear witness to the truth that there's only Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh and nothing else beside him. And with that, I will say shalom. Please subscribe and share, and thank you very much for watching.